Test 1, test 2. There we go. Power went out. Power was out all day yesterday, so there we go. All right, I think everyone can hear me now. How is that? Okay. So let's let everybody know we're everyone on live, and yep. All right, so let's see. Hope everyone is doing well. I don't really know exactly what we're going to talk about, but we'll wait for a few folks to jump on. I hope everyone is doing well. It's been a crazy, I couldn't even tell you don't know if it was last month, 2 months since I've been on. It's been a whirlwind, and it basically kind of happened almost exactly like didn't know when, I guess I didn't know how. Didn't know what, but I knew how. I knew how it was going to happen. But let's see, when was the last time I was on? That was 5 weeks ago, was that publish, and about the same 5 weeks since the last live stream. But all right. So ChatGPT is so funny. All right. Everybody's been using it and commenting on. Do you know that people have been using it to answer posts? I guess that just seems like a little bit of extreme to me. But let's see. See, did I block that out? That little dot. Let me sit right there, because that dot will drive me nuts. If anyone's like me, that dot will drive you nuts too. So I want to make sure I'm blocking it out. I think I got the lighting right. Let me change that one. I think that's better. And let's see. There it is. Hiding behind my big old noggin. I went to go get passports a couple weeks ago. They were like, "What's your hair color?" I'm like, "Do you have thinning as a choice?" They go, "We have bald." And I go, "No, I don't have that, but it is thinning." All right. So I guess the big news that I have is that in 2 weeks, I'm going to be starting my new job. So we'll see how that goes. Is there any fundamental questions anybody wants to talk about? Because I'm not really sure. Don't know why YouTube is acting weird like this. And yeah, where I am, I live a little bit. Yeah, sorry about yesterday. I was really wanting to stream and do this all yesterday. But we live in a little bit of a rural community. We're kind of on the outskirts. We straddle country life and city life. And the downside to that is infrastructure is not always 100%. So we live in a heavily wooded area. So it does not take much for power lines to get disturbed. So we had a big tall tree. They trimmed them all a couple months ago, but one of the tall trees got uprooted and just completely took out an entire section of power lines. So we were without power for almost like 18 hours. And that's the longest we've ever had without power. And because it was just like a fluke thing, it had rained enough where it had loosened up the ground, and then the strong windstorm came through. So, but all right. So the big announcement is that I am starting my new job. I'm starting my new job in 2 weeks. There we go. Let's do this. There we go. And I guess I kind of want to walk everyone through, because I know everyone has been really, really struggling in this job market. And I was getting very, very, very nervous about it, because I was getting nothing, nowhere. And I guess I just kind of wanted to share my journey and to make sure that maybe I can pass on or help out anyone else. So let's see. The computer restarted last night after the power came on. Restored a lot of stuff. Let's see. Let's see, paint. So it was kind of just like the last job. It was really insane how quickly all this happened. Yeah. So I just kind of want to share. So I have been attemptedly scammed. Very, very good attempts. Probably like 4 times. One was really, really good. I almost gave out some information. But let me just kind of walk you through last week. So, no, not last week. It would have been the week before, because last Monday I took the job. I took the job offer. So let me kind of walk you through what had happened. So Wednesday, that looks awful like Wednesday. There, Wednesday. I get a call in the afternoon. I've been working at the school board. I've been doing stuff, setting up phones, working on some database stuff. So I get this call from a non-scam number with an area code that is close to me. So I answer it. And it's a gentleman, and with an accent, and I'm like, okay, this is Norm. This is also possibly potentially a scam, because I've gotten the phone calls that are scams too. So I start getting asked all kinds of questions, and these are pretty good questions. None of them are personal. So this is important. None of them, no personal questions. It was all work related. So I kept getting my hopes up that it was real, and we kept talking and we kept talking and we kept talking. And then he said, well, hey, would you be up for an interview, a technical interview? And I was like, oh my God, I've never had a technical interview before. Now, granted, I answer all sorts of things, but these are the things that go through my head about just my challenges that I'm working through. So I'm going to the grocery store. I'm sitting in the parking lot. We're finishing answering all of these questions. Hang on a second. Yep, live. Still live. All right. All right. Let me send this last little text. Oh, good, that is in there. And then I want to talk more about don't be too specific. And I'll talk about what I mean by that. Let's see. Just realized, hang on one second. Okay. All right. Ooh. What does that look like? Whoa, look at that. Look at how that translates, how the cameras and OBS translate this. All right. So let's see. Anybody jumping on? Anybody have any questions? All right. So let's keep going. So I'm in the grocery store parking lot, and I'm getting all these questions, and none of them are personal, so I'm just continuously answering them. And because I have no idea what job this is, because we didn't even go into it. So I'm trying to cover everything that I may have applied for, because I've been applying for jobs all over the place with all sorts of, because I was realizing, I talked with somebody the other day, and they're like, you have a tremendous amount of experience. You need to be leveraging all of this. And what came up is that, I mean, I could be an assistant. I started applying for assistant director roles, because that would be the next level up, senior manager role. So I was applying for all of those. So we end up talking about, this is at a bank. I'm going to be very vague, but it's at a bank, and and it's at the corporate level. So very similar to being back at Walmart and being levels above, affecting the entire network. So all right, so I get done with the, you would call it a screening interview questions, and he said, hey, I'll call you back if this is a fit, if my manager wants to interview you, things like this. So I was like, okay. Of course, I was nervous and excited, and like, oh my God, I hope that went well. Well, while I was in the grocery store, so this is on Wednesday. I'm in the grocery store. I'm in line at the meat counter having them cut 2 steaks. I get the call back from the same phone number, so I answer it immediately. And I'm turning off the Wi-Fi, because the Wi-Fi in there is not that great. And I'm like, hang on a second. So I turn off the Wi-Fi so I can hear him. And he's like, can you interview Friday? So this is at 3:30 Wednesday, something like that. It may have been 4:30. I lose track. All of Wednesday afternoon has become a blur. And he's like, can you interview at 4 on Friday? And I was like, absolutely. And he goes, okay, I'll send you. I said, can you email me the address? He goes, oh, I'm going to send you everything. So in the back of my head, I am still thinking this is a scam. So this is Wednesday. I have work to do at the school board, and I told him I was going to come in Thursday. So I work Thursday. I only work like a half a day. I leave at like 1. I said, hey, I want to leave at 1. And then that gives me like 26 hours, because I'm going to have to drive for like an hour. So it gives me 26 hours to start. Databricks. I don't know if we've talked about this, but this is a huge platform which is working out. That's a horrible looking K. So Databricks is the platform that they're moving everything over to I wonder if I should change this to I got a new job. So moving everything, because everything that I'm reading that is in the data engineering world. Oh, and it's basically probably like a hybrid where I'm not the entire data engineer, but I'm going to be basically doing data engineering work without so my job title is IT developer. So I'm actually going to be writing the pipelines, but I'll be working with 2 data architects and a senior developer, and they are all really, 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 really smart. But what was so crazy about this was the technical interview. So all right, so lots of talk about Databricks, lots and lots and lots, tons of talk about Databricks. So I'm trying to figure out what all I need to get done and learn for Databricks for this technical interview. So I go in and I get to the corporate office of this bank, and they're like, yeah, it's a brand new building. They were not joking. This was the nicest building I've probably ever seen. Like, it's so nice that like floor 1 isn't the lobby. I've heard of, so that was the ground floor, and then everything below that was in the garage. Yeah, where I live in the United States, it's standard where you typically you don't have ground floors because it's all really expensive because of the water. But I believe there are 2 floors below for in the parking deck for the cars, which is a lot of money. So it's an old-timey bank, so been around a long time, so lots of money. So that has been kind of eye-opening, and I'm going to have a good time floating around that. But all right, let me tell you about the technical interview. So we're talking about questions. They want to hear about my work history, and I'm going through everything, and I'm highlighting. So I'd already talked about, so we haven't talked about this yet, interview prep. So the trick for interview prep, actually, I want to grab these. I want to save this. I want to start saving these so we can go back. So I know we have some folks dropping in. Please jump in and ask questions, because I haven't been on in a while, and I don't know what everyone needs or wants to talk about. And now that I've gotten a big hurdle done with me, I want to really help out everyone else, because this community kept me going for those. It's going to be 7 months, because I just passed 6. So when I start, it'll be almost 7 months unemployed. And so I have 2 more weeks. So I owe you guys a debt. So I want I want to pay it. I want documents. I'll just put this in here and I'll make a folder later. Let's see. Nope, can't do that. 17, and I want 02 17 -25 1. There we go. I want to start saving these. All right. So this is very, very important. 5 stories. So interview. So this is vital. When you're being interviewed, you need to have 5 stories you want to talk about. And that stories. This is super important. You want to know these stories and be so granial. I can't spell granial. Rain-E-L. Granial. That's not how you spell it. Don't ever come here. This is not a spelling channel. All right, so Granial. So you need to know the stories so well, so granially, that you can speak to any level about it and any aspect of it. But the story is important. The essence of the story, it needs to be something that you're proud of, and we've touched on this for a minute. It needs to be something that you have done that you are overjoyed and proud of yourself. The reason why that is important, the utmost reason why, is because you're not going to be able to contain yourself. So this energy that comes out of you, it doesn't matter what it is. You want to highlight the problem that you solved, the amount of energy that you put into it, the care, how much you wanted to do it, the results, how proud you are of the results, and you want to just be almost giddy, almost absolute giddy, because it shows you, it's like, I did this one thing. Like here, I'm trying to think of something that I did that I thought was meaningful, and I don't. So think about something that you were made to do that you didn't care about. You're just gonna be like, yeah. Oh, hey, like yesterday, yeah, I did. I went to the store. I did some laundry. I did dishes, and yeah, that's pretty much about it. But oh, hey, I'd been planning on planting that garden, and I went and got all the tools, and I bordered it. I trenched out the borders, and then I went and got a tiller, and then I tilled up everything, and I added in some fertilizer into the. See how that starts to sound different, and you really enjoyed that task. So all right. So I knew what stories I was going to talk about. I knew them backwards and forwards, inside and out, down to the littlest of aspects. There's also like a star method, star for interviews. Yes, that's important. But my problem with the star method is you can get thrown off if by getting asked a question in the middle. But if you dive down into the stories, deeper down into, and you really think about who was involved, who, what, when, where, why, and how, that handles the star method. It's like, what problem did I solve? How did I go about doing it? Who was involved? Oh, don't highlight the people aspect, because I don't care. Everybody's talking about AI. That's not people. Okay. People aspect. You're not going to escape. AI is not going to escape people. People are still going to be around. People are still going to be involved. People are weird. People have idiosyncrasies. People are uncomfortable. People are scared. People are worried, especially when it comes to their money. You want to get somebody nervous, talk about their money or their family. So if you're going to solve something with one of those two, you will be as rich. If you solve people's money problems, you solve people's family problems, you'll have as much money as you want. So, all right, let's go back to the stories and the interview. So, I knew these stories inside and out, every aspect, every part that I wanted to highlight. So it doesn't matter the question. So everybody goes, well, what happens? Thank you very much. APT, sorry. Were you just on, Is Adam Sec? Is that you? I don't know. Yeah. So hang on. Trying to do this so the color underneath doesn't come through. But I hope you're doing well. Glad. Thanks for stopping by. So I'm kind of just going through and highlighting the things that has happened. I'll get to the technical interview in a minute. So we didn't get to the technical interview until I kept trying to peek at my watch. Oh, I didn't even tell. Listen to this. This is my favorite part. All right, let me save this. Save as. 02. Yeah. So here's my favorite part. So I get to the interview early because it's out of town. It's out of town, out of my town, but they're my area of the country. There are a lot of little small towns really, really close to each other, like stacked on top of each other. And it does not take very long to get to multiple areas. So I was in another town, had not been in this part of town. So I go for the technical interview, and I'm at this bank. So I'm supposed to meet. Oh, and I use LinkedIn a lot. We're going to talk about this a ton. If you're looking for a job, I don't think it's possible to not find it without LinkedIn. But all right, okay. So I find out that I'm going to be going and meeting the boss's boss. Boss's boss. That's not. So I'm going to be on with the boss. I'm going to be on with the boss, one of the guys that I talked to, and another guy. And then I'm supposed to ask for the boss's boss. So I find all this out on LinkedIn. I pieced it together. Don't know how I pieced it together. That the person I was going to be asking for in the corporate office. And then everybody, so this is so funny. This is so crazy to me. So we go up to a conference room. And the boss's boss goes, hey, let's get you set up in here. We go in, and I'm like, okay, everybody else is going to show up. And he's like, let me log into the meeting. And I'm like, log into the meeting? And he's like, yeah, after I get you logged in. No. I've already skipped too far ahead. He goes, hey, I actually don't know what job you're interviewing for. And I'm like, this is awesome. And these are all green flags to me. So I will tell you this. So I come from a long line of operators, but everything else is messy. So if you think about it, if everything else is like perfect, is all the important things perfect? So I would rather have a messy, and I'm going to tell you more. It gets better. It's messier. It is so messy. And that actually is a green flag to me because that means all the work is probably really good. So I get in this conference room, and the boss's boss is like, hey, I don't even know what you're interviewing for. I go, that's cool. I said, so have you even seen my resume? He goes, no. So I bring my backpack. I got a little dry erase board, a dry erase marker, and a dry eraser. And did I bring anything else? No, because I am so glad I brought that. Oh, and I brought 5 copies of my resume because I wanted to be prepared. That is everything. Oh, and I wore a suit and tie. I think between all of these things, and then a little bit of my answers, and then a little bit of my experience, and then a touch of the technical interview that I answered. So, all right. So the boss's boss starts to get me punched in on the conference call. And he's like, all right, once I get you in here, I'll leave you guys be. So I'm in this conference room in a Zoom or in a Teams meeting with, I know, one in Tampa, one in Atlanta, and I don't know where the other one was. And I'm in this conference room by myself, and I'm interviewing here. I'm interviewing there, and I'm like, okay, so where I was is, that will be where I will be my corporate 4 days a week, and then I'll drive to see my boss once a week, which I think is a great idea. I love every aspect of this. So I'm going through the standard interview questions, behavioral, situational, and then we get to the technical. This is where it gets crazy. So, all right, let's save this. Okay, O2. So I start getting asked my familiarity with SQL, and they're like, how long have you're talking about how long you've been in your last role, and you talked about this. How familiar are you with SQL? I said, I would say I'm intermediate. I'm somewhere between intermediary and advanced. I'm somewhere in here. And they say, okay, do you know window functions? I said, oh, well, I had to use those all the time to solve all sorts of problems. Okay, I need you to go over to the laptop. And I'm like, there is no laptop. All it is the tablet that logs into the meeting. And I grabbed it and I showed it. They said, okay, don't worry about it. You can just walk us through this. And I'm like, what? So this is where I go and I talk about, make sure you're preparing. This is why I hate trying to get interviews and resumes, because you have to acquire all these other skills to be able to do the important thing. So resume, I'm a 1. Interview, I'm a 2. This is why this has been so challenging for me. I'm best at my work. I'm second best in an interview, and I'm third best on a resume, because I never really know what to highlight. Lack of experience, lack of education. Sorry, experience-wise, I'm through the roof. But that is hard to explain on a resume. Here I'm getting more comfortable, and I know what I want to talk about. But all right, so let's walk let's walk through the actual technical interview that I had. I've kind of blacked out on this. I don't know if it was 3 or 4 questions. I can't remember. I think it was 3, but I want to say that one of the gentlemen asked me 2 questions. So that would be, or they each asked 2. I can't remember if she asked me 1. All right, does not matter. So I get told, and they say, okay, you have a table, and I love this. You have a table. It has, let me see if I can remember it. It was sales. It was department, salesman or ID, salesperson. ID is probably ID department, and sale. What is how do you find the top 3 people in each department? And I was like, okay, wait a second. And I started to go through, and I was walking through. This is the important piece of this. make sure you're walking them through your logic. Because so they can see, because literally I'm not able to type this. So this was an unbelievable exercise for finding out how I solve a problem. I'm like, okay, so I have three columns, and I have the sales. Each row is a sale, and it's the salesperson, what department they're in, and their sales. So, let's see. Do I have dbeaver up? I'll kind of walk you through this. Let's see. No, don't want to update that. No. So this is what I was doing, something like this. Select, so sum sales, and then over, then partition by, then department. This is why I like partition by department, and let's do ID, and then select from, and it was I think sales table. Now I'm going to tell you about one that I had not ever seen. So then, and this was going to be sales total summed with summed as. I think they like it that I was going to use CTE. Select star from summed, then row number, and then I would need to, yeah, they were very forgiving, because now that I remember, row number has all sorts of conditions, and then I said, and then you do where greater than 3. So I was doing that all verbally right there. So all right, so that was the first one, and then it just went from there. So let's see. This is so crazy. Everyone drops when I start talking about data. So very interesting to me. So the beginnings, it is so very cool. So now that I'm thinking about it, my journey has been basically, was it 08? Sorry, thinking out loud. $12 or 13 years. So, all right. Let's do save as 02 for bingo. So, all right. Facebook is kicking. Let's see. And anything. Look at this over here. And captures D. But yeah, we can talk about LinkedIn. So, all right. So I've talked about the boot camp that I was doing, right? Ooh. Is that driving anybody else nuts? Hopefully the sun will move over in a few minutes. What does that look like with that background? Is this light across my face driving anybody nuts? Let me know if it is, and I'll hang up something to block it. All right. Need to get a drape because I need to put these over here too. All right. Okay, so we were talking about LinkedIn. The boot camp. And then we'll talk about my whole full circle of what got me interested in programming to begin with. All right, let's talk about the boot camp. So it's data expert.io, and there's a P in there. There you go. Expert. And the operator is Zach Wilson. And that gentleman is extremely intelligent. I had seen a few of his videos on YouTube before. And I was very intrigued about the sheer amount of data that he had worked with. And then I saw him being interviewed on somebody's channel, and then I started poking around, and I messaged him on LinkedIn, and he said, "Hey, I've got dataexpert.io. Go and check it out." And I have these boot camps that I've been doing. So I actually did 2 of them. He had a free one on YouTube that a lot of people used. That one was pretty good. Now, the amount of material that you get on the back end when you pay, the access to the platforms is unbelievable. So, all right. So where this gets really interesting is not only the connectivity and the people you meet, but one of the mentor talks that we had, there's a gentleman that was in the tech world, and he had a very lengthy career, and he gave a talk, and he talked a variety of subjects: how to get jobs, things like this, how to finding out what you want to do, finding out about what's going to make you happy. So it was really an interesting discussion. How to figure out what you want and how to get what you want. I was like, ooh, this is interesting. So I messaged him after I saw the talk, and chatted a few sentences. Well, Wednesday night or Thursday night, can't recall. I think it was Wednesday, because I was doing absolutely everything I could to get prepared for the interview on Friday. And I was like, hey, do you have any thoughts? Do you have anybody in your circle that can help me with a technical interview? He's like, when is it? I go, Friday. He's like, oh my word. And he goes, hey, send me the job description. So we probably spent 20 minutes messaging back and forth on LinkedIn. And he gave me a ton of information. One, he goes, have you looked up the people who are going to be in the meeting on LinkedIn? I said, no. He goes, do that immediately. And that was how I found out that I was going to meet my boss's boss. So I messaged everyone that was going to be in the meeting, my 2 future teammates, my boss, and my boss's boss. And I 100% messaged and said, hey, I'm very much looking forward to meeting you on Friday. And then he goes, what? This is the gentleman, the career coach. He goes, what questions are you going to ask? And I was like, I have a couple about banking. He goes, yeah, no. What about the job? And he goes, here's a list of 10 questions that I think are vital. So I would say probably with all of my other prep work and preparation and being prepared, you can never over prepare. I think you can overtrain physically and mentally, but I don't think there's such a thing of over preparing. Now, yeah, that's we need to write that down. Over preparing. Not equal to. You can't. Yeah, let's put this here. You can't over prepare. Yep. LinkedIn interview prep comfortable. Yeah, this is an important one. This is I don't have much being comfortable. So all right, I digress. So I'm trying to go through all these steps here. Let's see. So we end up on Friday. I'm in the interview. I think it goes well. That's not this past Friday, the Friday before. So we're like 10 days away now, 9 days away. And they're like, we'll be in touch. HR should be in touch. And I'm like, okay, that sounds like a good sign. So my boss's boss comes back in. We're still talking on the conference, and my future boss addresses her boss, and we still talk for another few minutes. Then I look down and I said, oh, I bet you guys are ready to go. And they're like, eh. So the boss's boss shows me around the rest of the building, and we go all the way up to the top floor, and we look at some really cool stuff, game room on the top floor. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. This is fantastically awesome. There's food and snack bars on every single floor. There's a restaurant downstairs on the ground floor, not the first floor. The first floor is not the ground floor. So, excuse me. So we're walking around, and he's like, how do you think you did? I go, I think I did pretty good. He goes, that group is tough. If you were still talking to them after 5 and if you went over, he goes, I think that's a pretty good sign. So I don't want to say anything, but that's probably a pretty good sign. So Monday's going by. I'm trying to work at the school board, and I'm setting up some phones, which is crazy that I've learned now. Phone migrations, merging the servers of the phones. I now understand how scammers can fake and look like other phone numbers. It's actually quite easy. If you have a phone that runs through the internet, you can just go and get a fake phone, hook your set up a server, hook up to the internet, and have that phone look like it is another phone. Dials out as that phone. Now it can't get a phone call. If you call that number, it won't get that phone number, but it can appear to be a different phone number going out. So that was interesting. Learned that because I was like, how can scammers look like a different phone number? It's actually quite easy. So all right. So then that's mid-morning Monday. I get a phone call from the recruiter, and I was like, "Hey." Actually, how about we go back to when I started asking about what the day-to-day was. I said, walk me through. So here was a great question. Walk me through a normal day. So she really liked this question. Walk me through a normal day. And she's like, you're going to have some ad hoc requests. Can you run me this real quick? And I hit all of the real of the things real quick. I just need a real quick query. RQQ. There is no such thing as a real quick query. Why can't I query? RQQ. I'm going to coin this phrase. RQQ. Real quick query. There's no such thing as a real quick query for a SQL developer or a data insert analyst, insert engineer. So, but I guess what I also want to say is being comfortable, being uncomfortable. Do I have a video called that? Because I need to talk about that. And everything that I've done in the past 3 years set me up for this. Let's see. Uncomfortable. Nope. And what was uncomfortable? Because comfortable being This is so dumb. This doesn't make sense until you get it. And it's basically, I'm going to go do something. It's going to be awful. And I don't care. Because you're worried. And I will tell you this. This is exactly jujitsu right here. This was being led into by my last job, by my boss. He was brilliant with this. And then jujitsu. Is it SU? Yeah. Can't ever remember. I always spell that wrong. Juigitz. GIU. Because being dyslexic is awful. One of the grand masters of this style. He goes, comfortable being in hell. I was like, when I saw one of his, I was asked, I was like, have you ever watched any of his stuff from his academy? And I said, he's got a academy online. They're like, yeah, it's one. Now he hasn't really done much recently. It's like Rickson Gracie. And one of the first videos I found, it was be comfortable in hell. And oh my God, this is exactly the same. So what I'm saying is your path is your path. Don't try to jump off and get on my path. Not your path. So I want to tell you that, yeah, this is insane. This is now taken 12 years from the first time I read about big data 12 years ago. This is so interesting to me that I'm going to be, I didn't know. Hi, Mr. Hacker. How are you? Glad to have you here. Hope I don't recognize having you here before, but thank you very much. I don't know if you've been on Discord, but we're going to hang out for a little while. Just kind of walking through the updates. I don't know exactly how I'm going to be able to do this because in 2 weeks I'll try to stream a few more days a week because, like I said, I still have my part-time job, but I'm starting a new job in 2 weeks, and I'll be back to a very, very, very full schedule. So I will have very limited time making videos, but I also will become probably very hyper efficient, which I'm probably the most excited about, because I won't have time for my brain to. Whoa! Y'all hear that? That was a bird hitting the window. We're a little bit in the country where I live and reside in the part of the world, part of the United States. Yeah, most of where I reside is country, and you have cities popped up, but that's like almost anywhere else. Like everyone thinks Florida is overpopulated. You have never driven through Florida. You will. There are parts of Florida that you will drive. In the middle parts, you'll drive for 2 hours, and you're in the middle of nowhere. Just 2 hours of driving. Where I reside now, you can't do that. You'll drive for 45 minutes, drive through some, and then you start seeing other towns. But Florida isn't even close to being overpopulated. That's why they have most of the cattle. But all right, these are the videos that I think can't be overprepared. Leverage LinkedIn, interview prep, being comfortable being uncomfortable, which is so all of these things with me being in the conference room by myself, talking to a television screen by myself, answering questions, no different than this. So everything leading up, what topic is going on? Right now, I'm just kind of going over kind of an update. Is there anything you want to talk about? I'm up. I was just kind of given the update of because I've been unemployed for just past 6 months, or basically it's six and a half months, and I'm starting a new job in 2 weeks. So, is there anything you want to discuss? Anything you are curious about? And that was actually one of the high level. Orchestration. That word is so funny. There you go. Orchestration. That is so funny. Hacker, what would you like to discuss? Anything? Curious about anything? Curious about me? Curious about my journey? Anything I can answer for you that you'd like? But don't because this path that I've been on has taken 12 years. Starting from finding a Wall Street Journal article, actually an insert, to learning Python, to creating a YouTube channel, to becoming a data analyst, to becoming a data engineer or an IT developer. which I'm going to be very interested to know how much of that because I'm going to be supporting 2 data architects. So I'll be very intrigued. Ooh, that didn't taste that good. Oh, I just finished my Gatorade. That's why. When did I start this live? I think maybe an hour ago. Hang on. An hour and 2 minutes ago. That's how long I've been going. So we've had some people drop in here. I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to title it. But just because I went back and looked at the information. I now have more live content than I have of published recorded content because I did so many live streams over the past 6 months. I have thousands and thousands of hours of how do we do? So I was streaming probably 6 days a week times 26 times about an hour and a half. So 234 hours. I guess I don't have thousands of hours. And I have how many videos? I have 1,147. I think my average length is 3 minutes. Oh, I guess I'm not even close. I don't know what math I did. Okay, I have way more. So I was surprised by whatever math I did. I was like, there's no way that I have more. But that answers it. Because 6 months. Because I was streaming on average probably 6 days a week for about an hour and a half. Some of them went under, some of them went over. 6 times 26. So 52 divided by 2. 26, yeah, 6. Okay, that actually makes a lot more sense. But yes, thousands of hours. Okay, I've done 1/10 in 6 months. 6 months. But Hacker, is there any questions you have or interested in? Is there anything that you're pursuing that I may have answers for? I would be more than happy to help with that. If you've not joined Discord, I highly recommend that because someone's usually always on over there, and to answer any questions. I can't believe it's February 17th already. All right, let's see. That is so impressive. All right. Sorry, I was over on the dataexpert.io Discord, and they're doing some really cool stuff over there. So, all right, let's go back. So, some of the comments that I made that really perked my boss's ears was one of my situations that I had. At my last job was we did not have one point of truth. We had 17. We had 17 team members, and they all had an original query, but they could all edit it. It wasn't a static workflow yet. So everybody had kind of made their own little version. So they'd all have like some sort of total. And then they would have their little subset. Well, vice presidents, they pay attention to details really, really close. So what happened is I was in a couple of these meetings, and these totals weren't adding up. And they're like, wait a second, why was this earlier today this number and now so-and-so's is this number? And I was like, and I had just happened, one of my superpowers or luckiness is I happen to be in the right place at the right time. That's I scratch my head about that all the time. So I started hearing this 3 times in like the same week. So I went to my boss and I said, hey, everybody has 17 different queries now. What happens if I make one? What happens if I make one point of truth? We load it up. I load it up every day. Then they are allowed to query that for their numbers of their piece, but their total will always be right. And he's like, I love that. Well, I told that to my future boss. And consistency with financial data is vital because executives are making decisions off of these numbers that you're giving them. So being accurate is the most important, the utmost important. Do I want to keep this one? Oh, why not? I'm keeping the rest of them. So now let's talk about the last question I asked of my boss that I think she liked the very most. And I will tell you what it is. What I said was, in 6 months, I had heard this question a lot to ask. Don't know why that S became. Why can't I do an S today, everyone? S. There we go. In 6 months, for Sam to be successful, I said, Sam did this, and I think Sam is successful because of this. I'm very grateful that Sam did this. And this is how I know I'm going to like working for my boss. Because she said it in one phrase. She goes, no escalations. Basically, don't give me any problems. Don't have them. If they're working with you, don't make them come to me. She goes, 0 escalations. And I go, that's easy. That's just effort. That is, this is my superpower. Let's see if I can do. No way. Is that it? I didn't know that. That if you are doing this and you don't like it and you just click the off of it on the, you do a left click. All right. Does this look like an S? Does this look like a Superman? All right. What my superpower is effort. Oh, and I care. That was actually one of the last. Also, I had a lot of last things and I kept saying, hey, this is because I'm going to give effort because I care. Actually, I want to rearrange that because I know I won't say their name because it might enrage a bunch of people. But there is a very successful business person and tech person. And he summed it up and he goes, if you work 100 hours and your closest competitor works 50. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, Hacker. I appreciate it. If you work 100 hours and your competitor works 50 hours, you're going to be twice as good. And that's how people forget. Everybody goes, well, I'm working 40 hours. Why aren't I getting anywhere? 40 out of 168. Now, granted, I know you have to do other things, but I never had the chance to meet my dad's dad. From what I hear, because my dad works 80 hours a week easily. He's 80. My dad's doing 80 at 80. Okay, so this is like a joke. This is like a part-time job for folks in my family. And back when, I was thinking about it. Back when I was doing everything else, and I was working my manager's job on the weekend, and I was doing live streaming, and I was doing trading, and I was doing all of these things. I was probably working 100 hours a week, and that was a lot. I was tired all the time. And but it didn't look like effort. It didn't look like work to anybody else. So this is where a lot of people this is what separates. So I tell my boys. I basically worked 12 years and went let's say 9. In the last 3, I worked a little bit. I took a ding for 6 months. So six months out of that. Worked 9 years, and it didn't look like anything happened. And that's what... This is hard. This is hard for a human being to do. Working 9 years and not have anything happen. And not have any movement. But there was movement. It's like when you go to the gym. You go to the gym, the first few weeks, nothing's happened. Nothing's changed. So you should quit, right? But it's happening in the background. You don't see it. It's these micro changes. Micro changes are so much more important. So, my watch is yelling at me, and I got to get up and walk. So, we're gonna draw a chart here in a minute. So let's save this. 02 7. Let's get rid of this. Let's do this. All right. What were we just talking about? Talking about 12 years. So I was doing all this work for 12 years and quote unquote, nothing was happening. But there is, let's do the United States. Let's see how I do. How am I doing? Does that look like the United States? This sum. Why this sum I don't understand. Oh, sum. Tell me more. I'm going to talk about this for a second. This is LA. That's DC and New York. Something like that. The angle here with the sheer distance. Hacker, tell me more about why sum. Tell me what you mean about sum. I believe this angle right here is 1 degree. So, and I read this in Extreme. Atomic Habits. And what this is 1% change a day. So the 1%, let me see if I can do the math. 365. Now, granted, you won't change 1% a day, but this is like 500 and something miles or something. But it shows you that if you continues to change, the results are extreme with consistent small amounts of effort. That's so this is hard for, so let's say I live to 80. Before you said 100 hours and 40 years something. Let's go back. Save. Let's go back one. I was talking about 40 hours and 80 hours. Let's go back to that. Was it this one? Yeah. Okay. So let's say you're comparing yourself with somebody else and they're working 50 hours. So work 100. It's like what you have to decide is, did I say 40? Oh, I was talking about, I don't think I said 40 years. I may have, but I was referring to 168 hours in a week and working 40. If you look at this number, it's really a joke. And it's perspective. It's perspective because of, it's just what is 40 divided by 168? It's not even a quarter. So that's where we we're like, yeah, but it's a third of the day. Well, it's a third. No, 8 hours is a third of a day. Now, if you were to work 8 hours a day, 7 days a week, now you're getting somewhere. Now you're at a third. So what is 168 times 0.5? 84. Now you're getting close. So 84 divided by 7, 12 hours a day. Or where I like to be, what happens if you're hyper efficient and you work 14 times 5 or 14 times 6? That's work. Everybody thinks 40 hours a week is work. This is work. That's a person who has a family and is going to school, getting a master's, a doctor, a mom working 2 jobs, going to school. That's work. This is how you separate yourself from others. Hang on a second. Thought I heard a big thud. Okay. Let's see how long. Sorry about. Let me trim this. Unlock. Not that unlock. This unlock. There. Lock it back. Okay. So I'll go out of frame really, really quick, but those marks are gone. All right. Sorry, because they drive me nuts. And if you're anything like me, which you're here, so you probably are. Yeah. All right. You are very welcome. All right, Hacker. Where you don't have to tell me where you are, but what time is it where you are? I'm just curious. Excuse me. And this actually came up in the interview. What I said is one of the last statements that I made. I said, look, you may find somebody else who's more technical, and I think that caught them off guard. But I also then said, but you're not going to find anybody who cares more than me. And I finally remembered the term, because when you hear care, it doesn't carry the same weight. But I said, I believe in extreme ownership. Extreme ownership. And I didn't realize what I was doing here with this extreme ownership. Even if you don't have influence over it, it rewires your brain. I think Jocko, the Navy SEAL, he explained it. I think he finally explained it of what, because I'll put my spin on it. What it meant, what it means to me. I take ownership of everything. Everything is my fault, because that means I possibly had some influence over it. It's not a control thing. It's a battle of helplessness. It's to fight helplessness. So if you feel like you have no control over it, then what's the point? What's the point? Then I'm just in this ocean and I'm being tossed around. But if I could have done this, and if I could have done this, or I should have done this, or it was my responsibility, it was my fault, I take responsibility for this. It begins to buffer. That's not right. It begins to build this sense of, it fights helplessness, and you go, okay, I am in more control than it felt. I was in more control of that than I originally thought. And then you're able to exert influence, because there are, let me save this. I believe there are three types of people. And you have to decide which one, what happened. Watch things happen. Make things happen. Now, I think 5% of people fit in here. I think 25% of people fit in here. And I think 70% of people fit in here. And you have to decide now. It's kind of hard. It's easier to move from this group to this group. It's really hard to move from this group to this group. This is like a type of class system. But this one's easy. You get this by education and learning. You think it's 50%? Uh, 50% of people are like, what happened? Because I think it's 70. I think a lot of people are unaware of what's happening around them. And they're shocked. And they're shocked when bad things happen. So, I think 25% watch things happen. And I think 5%. So, this is resources. I've prepared myself so well. I've saved. Because these are either executives and people at corporations or people who own their own businesses. And I think that's about right. Because we have 7 billion. That's 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. So what's 7 billion times 5? Because this is going to be a big number. That's 1. That's 70 million. 700 million. Billion. All right. Times 0.05. So that's 350 million people that make things happen. That's a lot of people. So I think that's a pretty good number. And then what? 70% of people, like what happened? 4.9 billion. Big number. 4.9 billion. What happened? And I get that. I agree with that number. I think all the people I know that fit in that. What happened? Or in some areas don't even have access to know what's happening. That's what kills me, but that's also why I love the internet. And why then I'm able to share this, because I'm fortunate that I had access to newspapers, libraries, news, things like that. Effort of never giving up, knowing not to give up, knowing to wait. But here, let's go back to, where was I? I was starting a number line. All right, let's save this. We're on, which one are we on? We're on 8. Save as 02 dash, we're on 9 now. Okay. 9. All right, let's do a new one. So, all right. Let's say I live to 80. 0. So I'm right. What? There's the midpoint. So that's 40. So we got, then that's 20, 30, 10, 60, 60, 50, 70. We'll put this, let's say it's like right there. So I'm like right here. It's me, Mario. Oh, sorry. That was really dumb. All right. So boom, I'm right here. It's like a W. All right. So I'm right there. All right. So I want you to think about this. 12 years when I started this journey. Yeah, I was 36. So when I read about big data, actually I just got a book on data architecture. Big data. Read about it the first thing. So, and it was already coming up in the tech world, but it was hitting mainstream, and mainstream is just so funny, especially the news. They're usually always way behind. And I'm actually reading some more technical papers too, which is kind of crazy to me. All right, so read this, and basically nothing happened for 9 years. Sir, tomorrow live class available. Hacker, ask that a different way. Are you asking if I'm going to be live tomorrow? But I want you to think about this. I prepared for 9 years with no change. It's like going to the gym for 9 years and not being able to see. But it was working. It was working, but I couldn't see the results. That's what this game is. 9 years out of 80. What's that? 9 divided by 80. 11%. But I was doing other stuff. No, I'm gonna be at my part-time job. So no live stream tomorrow. Probably back Friday. And then we'll go from there. And I got to figure out, because if I go back, probably no more. I just don't see, because I'll be back to working. You're in India, okay? Yeah, I actually have. Have you heard of Code Dam? Because I have some classes on that platform. It's an India-based company. So I have some courses on there. But of course, I also have the YouTube channel, which the courses came out from my YouTube channel. But I also have coursework, classwork on there. So, well, Hacker, if you need to go, I completely understand. Because what it is, hang on, is that 11 hours ahead? I can't remember. It's at least 12. Let's see. India time. Zone difference. 11 and a half. Says it's 11 and a half from where I am. So you can figure out where I am. So it's 8:55 there right now. Well, I'm glad it's very interesting. Yeah, I don't think and I probably won't be able to do lives, because I'll go back to working 7 days a week, doing my full-time job and then the part-time job. I don't know what, I will ramble, but I don't know what the community needs. Because look, I think I don't know if you were here yet. This community was extremely supportive to me, keeping me motivated during these months and months of being unemployed. And it was, it got ugly. Well, the past 5 weeks, past 2 weeks have been on an upward track because of just being busy and working. But it was becoming very, very heavy, very somber of staying motivated. And if I wouldn't have had this community being as supportive as they were up until then, it would have been ugly. I don't want to think about it. It was it was uncomfortable. It was very uncomfortable. So all right, because I'll probably just be doing. See, I don't think anyone likes the live streams at night. Am I on Instagram? I believe Python Basics has an Instagram account, but I don't think I've actually posted anything on it. What kind of content would you like to see on there? And because my kids are telling all of my kids tell me I need to be making, more content all over the place. I started on LinkedIn, and I think that helped me quite a bit for the job. But I did not live stream on LinkedIn. I made videos for LinkedIn. And then let's see, how long have I been on? Let me sit up. I went all out of frame. Sorry. Hour and a half. Let's see. And then we were talking about content and platforms. Was on LinkedIn. We talked about Twitch. My sons really are like, why aren't you making shorts on YouTube? And I was like, yeah, I know. But it's like, I just need to learn. I need to learn one more thing. But I mean, if it's something that I want to do, I enjoy teaching and developing people. I really enjoy that. So that's actually one thing. If I were to get a degree, it would be in computer science, so I could teach people coming up and really teach people who learn different like me. Because I believe there are segments of society that are being overlooked, that don't believe that they can learn this. And I believe I could teach them. But since I've been off from YouTube for so long, the algorithm is not very happy with me right now. And no one has come today. Like, we've had 23 viewers come. And I think the only reason why I have 3 minutes and 17 seconds is because you've been on here for so long. But let's see where. So we're talking about this. So what? 11%. I was preparing for 11% of my life to get here. And what was so funny is I was interested in data. Got me here. And then I did this roundabout, learned Python, thought I was like, do I want to be a software engineer? Do I want to do that? Is that something I want to do? And then now here I am, full round trip back to because data engineering, they were, so we'll come here. So big data finally got a term, and it was data science. But this actually then broke into the actual experiments, the actual science. And because it was so much, and then the engineering. Because it was just so vast. These skills, yeah, you can do it, but if you really want the science done, you don't want to be spending all of your time on the engineering. So let's just break this field out and make them stand alone. And that's basically what happened. And this has happened over these 9 years. And now here I am here. I mean, technically, am I an engineer? I don't know. I'll have to wait. Because like the last job I had, I was hired on as a data analyst. I did very little data analysting, data analysis. I built applications. I was a data architect. A bad one at that, but I learned, oh boy did I learn. I learned so very, very much. And then these data expert boot camps, learned even more. Then I had access to these platforms. So, and that was actually one of the things that I posted and put out on Discord. There we go. What I put out on Discord is I was asking everyone, what would we think about changing the name of the channel? Because everybody wants, and what's so interesting to me, side note, cryptography. Those are some of my better performing videos right now. People are so intrigued with cryptography. Let me read off. Let me tell you. Is this last month? So last month, just installing cryptography, 359 views in a month. That video now has 2,900 views, and that video is how old? It's old. It's coming up on 4 years old. I have, how many videos do I, what is my best performing video? That should be my random seed method data science. 23,572. And then my second best performing is the OS path join method with 22,000. So I now have 3 videos, and then also how to upgrade pip. Those are all 2018 videos. 21,000 upgrading pip, path join 22,000, and random seed 23,000. All in 2018. So all right. We've had some other folks jump in here. Any questions? What do you guys want to know about interviewing? I was also being lucky. Being lucky is okay, but you still have to be prepared. That, I think, everyone, what I'm hearing about is everybody's getting lucky getting interviews, but then it's not, the interview's not going well. So I think I had let me save this and let's go back. Ooh. Which one had, no. No. The interview. Okay. That was 6, 5, 4. There we go. So here's what I am. Second best at interviewing. So what I'm seeing about people are getting interviews because they're really good at getting the interview. So their order is probably 1 or 3, maybe here and here. So they're better at getting the interview. They're doing all the work getting the interview and then struggling with the interview. So your resume. So we'll go over this. Hang on. Because you have to have a good enough resume. Yeah. Let's, what do I want to do? get rid of this. All right. So, what do I want to call this? Resume, interview, job. This is what was taking me so long. I suck at this, which is bad if you're trying to get a job. I'm second best at my interview, and I'm really good at the job because I care and I give a tremendous amount of effort. So what I've noticed is others who get interviews all the time are best at this. I don't know these two, but I would maybe even say bad there, the worst, and then not being able to come through. Because what I've noticed in my experience being around, if you're the best at interviewing, now there may be exceptions to this, do not, because I scratch my head all the time, how did you make it through the interview? There are some people who are really good at this. Let's say this is second and this is here, because they don't care. So they're really good at talking. They're really good at selling themselves. They can kind of sell it on paper, but then they don't care. So what I think handles this, in my opinion, I think caring is important. Oh, awesome. What area are you interested? Because there are so many playlists. I've actually kind of I'm on the fence about, because I don't need one more thing to do, but I think it'd be an interesting thing, is to build a website to then help you be able to navigate through my YouTube channel. That's what I'm on the fence about. But I don't know if I can even learn to do that, because it's to the point now where there's so many videos. But prime time, I have 11,000. Let's see, what's the number? So I'm going to publish one today. I think it's going to be 1,148. My 48th video. Some of them I've deleted. But all right. As my resumes week. Jan, how are you? Hey, Jan, I got a job lined up. It was a crazy experience to get it, but I start in 2 weeks, so I'm trying to get a feel of what everyone needs. Thank you for your thoughts about the name change, because I'm just going to be doing even more. Hang on, prime time. I'll read that in a second. Even more data. Even more data engineering, and I think I'm more passionate about that than building anything, because orchestration and the amount of insight that we get from data. All right, I have knowledge on Node.js, but thought about learning Python for data science and analytics. Python is helpful. SQL's your go-to, and SQL's different. SQL's it's gonna feel weird, but you can go and do it. Python is okay. That's more for orchestration and flows. But if you already know JS, it won't be very hard to learn Python and orchestration. It's just order of operations. That was actually one of the lines that I said. I said it came off so weird. But Jan, yeah, I'll give you some highlights. Here's to staying with the job as long as you be like, thank you very much. Yeah, Jan, I think that was the plus, that being 23 years with Walmart, that they were like, yeah, because the boss's boss, he's been with the bank for 20 years. And I was like, look, I want to retire here. I said, I just want to, I said, I don't change. I said, oh, that was one of the other things. The psychological, emotional personality traits. That was one of the other things. I said, I may not be the most technical, so I started with that. And then you saw our change go, oh my God, why is this guy saying this? And I said, but you won't find anybody who cares more. I believe in extreme ownership, and my personality type is a loyalist. As you can see, I was with Walmart for 23 years. and I think that was because that was Friday afternoon. I didn't even think about this. They only had time to discuss. Because they didn't talk Friday. They might have talked amongst themselves, but they didn't talk to HR Friday. They would have talked to HR first thing in the morning, which would have been 9, getting everybody together. I doubt they had an 8 o'clock. It's hard to get everybody having 8 o'clock on Monday on a call. I've never seen that. I'll be surprised if that's at a bank too. Then I got a call by 10 my time, 11 their time. And we began discussing the, you're from India as well. Awesome. Glad to have you here. Thanks for everyone coming to drop in. What's so funny, Jan, you'll like this. So the reason why I used to do the 2-hour live streams is because no one really starts jumping on till after about an hour. But since I've been off for 5 weeks, it's been about an hour and a half. But all right, let me put this back up. Sorry, I thought all the sun dots were gone. But yeah, Jan, I'll be back to working 7 days a week. So I probably won't do any live streams, but I will hopefully be able to do some videos. All right, no, let's do this. I think I missed some comments. Liketh, glad to have you here. But oh, Jan, it was so crazy. I had a technical interview in a conference room by myself. Okay. All right, one of my kids is home. That was a little startling. Was not expecting that. In a conference room by myself. So I'm so glad I have all this YouTube experience, because I was just talking to a huge television screen with a teeny tiny camera in the bottom. And the technical interview that I had, it was all SQL, and I had no computer. I had to walk them through it verbally. It was so nerve-wracking. But yeah, that was on a Friday. Found out, got a call screen on a Wednesday. 2 calls, passed the screen. Then they called me right back. I was at the grocery store. Was in the grocery store parking lot when I got off the phone. Didn't know if I'd talk to him anymore that day or anymore ever. And then they called me back, and I was at the meat counter having some steak sliced. And they said, "Can you drive to the other town and interview on Friday?" I said, "Yep." So the boss's boss did not even know what job I was interviewing for. That was funny. Had no laptop in there, so I had to verbally walk them through everything. It was nuts. And then that was Friday at the end of the day. And then I got the call, and we haggled a little bit about money. And then I got the official offer Monday afternoon, accepted, and then started the whole process with background checks, screenings, blah, 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 fingerprinting, all these things, because I'll be working with the data at the bank. So it's no joke. All right, let me check feel like the light is... All right. Here we are. All right. Any questions about anything? We've been on for... How long have we been on? Not that. Then I want to talk about the job and things like that again. Kind of. So if you've been on, I apologize for going back over, but I think all this is very important for solidifying. Yes, they did ask about Databricks. Don't have any experience. Well, I'm aware, but it's orchestration and scheduling jobs and things like that. Thank you very much, Primetime. I appreciate that. Let's see. What were we just talking about? So this is one area that I do want to improve. Is I don't want to be an expert at the resume. I just don't. But I want this to improve and be maybe like right here. So if I do want to move on, it won't be so painstaking. Or yeah, so I don't know. And yeah, that the actual job title is called that. Oh, I didn't even tell everybody about this. This was, and I actually love this because I wouldn't want it any other way. Developer. This is actually my job title. IT developer 2. IT developer 2. So after I signed the letter on last Tuesday, I'm starting to do everything and setting up appointments and doing all this. And I let my HR rep know all about everything. And then the recruiter calls or I get an email that I did not get yet because the recruiter called back. So I've talked to this the recruiter calls back and goes, "Hey," and I go, "Oh boy, this hey does not sound good." She goes, "Did you notice the job title changed?" I go, "I did. And is that okay?" And she's like, "Yeah. But HR just called me and said we can't give you a job that you didn't apply for. So you need to reapply for this job right now with me on the phone." And I'm like, perfect. I love it. Because I said it earlier in the live stream. I would much rather it's like this right here. It's like all of this. If they were really, really, really good, if this wasn't bumpy and choppy and ugly during this process, it would make me like, if this was so good, if this was so streamlined, it would make me worried about the job, because that means that they're pretty good with HR, pretty good with recruitment, and really good at the job, right? It's just like my resume. My resume is the weakest. My interview is the second weakest, and I'm really good at the job. So if they were perfect and they didn't make any of these mistakes, if the boss knew exactly what I was interviewing for and he was on top of it and blah, 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 that would actually make me more nervous that they're super good at interviewing. So I want you to think about this. If they're super good at interviewing, they're super good at scheduling interviews, that means they're doing it all the time. That means nobody wants to be there. That's the way that I think about this type of stuff. So that means nobody ever leaves. They're really unorganized about interviewing because they never do it. I like that a lot. I like that a ton. So, all right. Well, everybody's dropping off. That is so funny. That is so funny about what everyone is interested in. I really thought people would want to know that, but that's okay. We will figure this all out. All right, we are at 2 hours and 2 minutes. Whoa, that just got blurry. We're at 2 hours and 2 minutes. So I think I'm going to go eat and then head to the gym, because I have not been to the gym either in probably 3 months maybe. I don't know. Well, consistently. I went last week because my knees are getting bad. But all right, anything. I mean, it's easier to work at a boss who doesn't even know what your job is. Well, he's actually, his title is data. He's over all the data at the bank. Hey Shank, how are you? So data governance, data management. I'm under the data management department. Ooh, I guess I don't recall, Shank, but I'm glad if you've been here before. I'm glad to have you back. Thank you, appreciate it. So, well, if you're just jumping on, I don't want to drop. Is there anything you wanna ask? Thank you very much. Talk about? Curious? Want to know about the process? Dax, how are you? Don't know how long you've been on. Start a new job in 2 weeks. So trying to squeeze in market research guy. Hey, how are you? Okay, market. Yes, actually, that is so cool. Hope your work is doing well. But yeah, Dax, got a job at a bank. Gonna do some data nerdy stuff. They're moving everything over to Databricks. So they need to have somebody build all the new pipelines. So that's what I'm going to be doing. And yeah, very, very, very excited. Very, very awesome. The interview was crazy. If you have a chance, I said it a few times. I'll load up a video, a quick synopsis. Well, I'll do it real quick. I was in a conference room by myself with no laptop, answering SQL query questions, writing SQL, verbally describing how I would write a SQL statement to answer the question that they asked. Oh, last one, and then I'll probably wrap up. But check this out. All right, do I have this saved as 11? Yeah, I do. Save, new. All right. Never even heard about this one. I was given a view of 2 tables. So the first example, I was not even shown anything. They verbally explained to me what the table was, and I brought a dry erase kind of notepad book. Think about a legal notepad with like a binder that you flip open. My wife got that for me when I started the last new job, and she knows how I think, so I write down stuff all the time and then erase it, go, no, that doesn't work. Try it again. No, that doesn't work. And I just erase. So, all right, the first question, they told me what the table was verbally and said, how do you do this? So then the second one, they gave me a table and they said, how would you do blank? And then I go, okay, then I'd write it. This third one, input, output. They said, given these two, how would you get this? And I was like, I've never even heard of such a thing. So I stared at it, and the only reason I was able to do it is on like my last month at my last job. My teammate, we looked at she was working on something, and it was an ag array. And the only reason why I knew how to do it, and it had a K-swin in it. So I joined these two with a K-swin with it. And then I was able to do it. And they're like, okay, cool. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. And I've told other people in the industry, and they're like, you didn't have a laptop? And I go, nope, didn't have a laptop. They're like, that's insane. So, and I think that might be also why maybe the questions were a little bit easier, because they weren't anything crazy. I would say they were, the first two were very beginner, easy. So on, what do we use? We use Code. What's that platform that we're always answering questions off of? Not Code Camp. Code Camp is one of the other platforms that I've been on. I've been on 3 different platforms making content. Yeah, do you know my free Code Camp playlists? Those have 500,000 views. So if you combine my channel and my videos alone on free Code Camp, I have almost 1.6 million views on YouTube, but I can't get credit for those. But all right. By the by, we were talking about, what was the last thing I said? Oh, types of question. You had easy, medium, and hard. I would describe the first 2 as easy. 2 of them were easy, and this last one was a medium. I wouldn't say any of them were quote unquote hard questions. This is driving me bananas that I can't remember. Code. That's flight aware. Well, that's extremely frustrating. What was the online leak code? My goodness, leak code. Yeah, just leak code's your friend. Just stay practiced at leak code. And I think Dax would agree with me on this. And the stories you want to talk about. And also one of the other things that I heard from the career coach, make sure you're not going to talk about stories that are not on your resume. I don't know exactly why, but just that it gives everybody the heebie-jeebies, I guess. So if it's the stories that you're most proud of about the things that you've done, make sure those are the stories. So we talked about that in one of the first ones. Open, not there. Save as. Where does this go? Save as D. Okay. Open D. Yeah. Documents. Yeah. What was the one? Leak code, documents. I completely lost my train of thought of what I was going to talk about. Oh, let me get back over here. Make sure I'm not missing any questions. How much increment you got? You talking about pay? Is that what you're? It's about the same. Because in my last job at Walmart, there were 3. Never stop learning. Great opportunity. Oh, I 100% agree, because I think this will be like a segue. I mean, but they also have data architects. All right, Shank, hang on. The two data architects roles that I will be supporting. So I'll be the lower level. It's a team of 3 with our boss. She's a senior director. Is she a senior director? I felt like she had a senior director in her title. Senior Director of Architecture and Data Engineering, and then 2 data architects, and then me, IT developer, which is my last title. I need to go. It got kind of stripped down where it just said like Insights and Designs Manager 2, I think. So it was very increment, increase. Yeah, it was about the same. So, but when I was at Walmart, I had three pay segments. I had a base pay, I had a stock grant, and I had hang on, and I had a bonus. So base pay, stock grant, bonus. So, and thank you, Dax. So it's around the same. And thank you, Jan. Thank you as always for coming to hang out and keeping everything rolling on the server. So yeah, for those of you who don't know, Jan is the moderator on the Discord server, keeping everything rolling. But yeah, Shank, no bonus, no stock, but just all in cash. So you want to argue that's better, worse? I don't know the answer to that, but I at least get it throughout the year. Don't know taxes. That's the only thing I'm worried about, because if there would be years that I don't want to sell the stock, I don't have that tax. The taxes won't be incurred. So yeah, it's all fuzzy to me right now, but I'm very grateful because I think the upward mobility from here, because yes, quote unquote lateral move level wise, but responsibilities, I feel like it was probably a pretty big jump up, because they called it an IT developer 2. I was a data analyst manager 2, so same kind of thing. But in the grand scheme of things, it's I'm pretty well compensated, and I'm very grateful for that. But I think I was talking about that in one of the other videos, or one of the other cards that we were looking at. Is that, let me do this. So anyway, keep trying for new job and next time out. Yeah, well, I was if it comes to that and I'm able to let's see, what do I want to do? Where's the number line? Yeah, here's the one I want to do. This is what I want to talk about. So this one right here, I guess I'm very patient. Well, one, I'm really old, so Dax can appreciate this. I was working at this for 9 years with no movement, no visible movement. It's like going to the gym for 9 years. But the way that the market was right now, everybody, I did not feel like if I was taking interviews all the time, Shank, I probably would have asked for something like that. But the role and position, and I was really only two and a half years, technically 2.5 years experience with at my last role, and the amount of responsibility that I'll be having. No, I have not read what's new in 13.2. I would not be able to answer that at all. So time and role was 2.5 years. So they were going to be, yeah. So the amount of responsibility they're giving me for somebody with 2.5 years experience, that's that the confidence that they've instilled or that they have in me is pretty high. So I didn't want to get into the semantics of pay, because I'm a huge believer in all those things work out. And to get the job for the pay Yeah, I'm a kind of old school guy. Uh, oh, I know one other one, and everyone can see this. Let's do new. Do I want to save? No. Ah, this is usually what happens. Oops. Success. As fast as it goes. So now, let's say that's to scale. Let's do this. Now, so, and then this is more of a, and then you do this. I've seen this time and time again. This is so dangerous when anything easy, and there's so many old sayings, easy come, easy go. But if you do this is what a mountain looks like. Mountains are unstoppable, right? Cliffs, wind shear, anything under pressure. Easy come, easy go. Because you also don't understand how to handle it. But the individuals who put in the time and the effort, and it goes up like this, there's usually a plateau at the top, and it takes so hard to take them down off the mountain. And most of the time, this is by choice. So this is what I want. I want everything to do with this. And this is probably kind of where I am right here. This is what I want to think about where I am. So because there are people in pop culture right now that are probably right about here. And you gotta milk it for whatever it's worth. But it's so easy to make a mistake because you just don't know. You don't know how to handle this, and you definitely don't know how to handle this. And I guess I should have had this. This is more in perspective. Let me move this. Oops. No. There we go. And I should have had that land up down here. Let me do that again. Everybody starts in the same point. There you go. That's what I want to illustrate. So, okay. Let's see. How long have we been on? No, that's not what I want to look at. I'm probably going to drop here in a minute. We have been on for 2 hours and 20 minutes. All right. Thank you everyone for coming to hang out. Probably going to live stream Friday. I got my little part-time job, setting up some stuff, moving some databases, and configuring some phones for the school district. So learning a lot about how to do that. That's been interesting to me. Reconfiguring some servers, merging the servers. But all right, thank you everyone for coming to join today. I really appreciate it. And if you're able to join Friday, that's awesome. And I will see everyone then. Talk to everybody later. Don't forget to join the Discord server if you have any questions on anything. I'm probably going to talk about more on the interview, how I attacked it, and things like that to kind of give everybody hope. But I wanted to thank everyone for the support that they gave me because it really kept me motivated and not losing my mind over the past 6 months. So thank you, everyone, and I will see everyone Friday. All right. Bye, everybody.